Hello, I'm Bill Paxton, Mayor of the City of Paducah, and we're here again today to talk about quality of life matters in Paducah. As we've said many times over the last several years, quality of life can be many things, from creating jobs to good roads to good schools to playgrounds, and so we're talking about all of those during our program. Today we have Lisa Thompson here with us today, and Maurie McGarvey. Lisa is a director of Paducah Renaissance, and Maurie is chairman of the board. And as you all know, Paducah Renaissance is in charge of bringing businesses to downtown, supporting the businesses that are downtown, and doing the same thing with the artist relocation program, so that we have a strong arts district and we have a strong downtown that has restaurants, retail shops, law offices, all the things that bring people downtown. So we're excited to have these two young ladies with us today. And Lisa, I'll start with you. Welcome to Paducah.
Thank you.
Good to have you in Paducah. And tell us a little bit about yourself and about why you came to Paducah.
I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, right up the river, and my family still lives there. And I think if you look at my personal and professional experiences, it's sort of like a patchwork quilt. I worked in the federal government at the Arms Control and Disarmament Agency, and I did lobbying, to Congress. And after that, I owned my own retail business. So I started a fine linen shop in Washington, D.C. in the neighborhood of Georgetown. And I ran that for 10 years, and I would go on buying trips overseas and New York, and so I got to travel a lot and see other things. And then most recently, I worked as the day-to-day manager of a nonprofit historic house museum that's in Georgetown that was designed by the first architect of the Capitol. And I think in my personal life, I've served on a planning commission. I have restored historic houses, both residences. The oldest house was built in 1840. When I lived in Savannah, Georgia, I renovated a mixed-use building on a historic square. I've been a landlord, I've been a tenant, I've been a government employee, I've done all kinds of things. And when you put all of those experiences together, it sort of creates a quilt, so to speak. And I think it's sort of appropriate that I would end up in Paducah, the quilt city, with my varied sort of background.
So you realized that there was a position open in this area. You checked out Paducah and felt like it was a place that you would enjoy, and so here you are.
So here I am. Yeah, good. I mean, the mayor, yourself, the commission, the residents, the business leaders, the bankers. I mean, the program that you all have here is just amazing, and the leadership that the community has really shown is stellar, and that you all should be very proud of what you've created here, and I'm just very happy to be a part of it and hope to grow on the many successes that you've had.
Good. Maurie McGarvey, Paducah Bank employee, but also, as so many people do in Paducah, you volunteer, you get involved in Paducah to try to make Paducah better. And you are currently serving as the chairman of PRA. Yes. So tell us a little bit about the mission of PRA as you see it as chairman, and a little bit about its structure.
Sure, be happy to. Thank you for having me here along with Lisa today. The structure is really pretty easy to understand in my mind after having spent a year, but for many of those who have not had the opportunity to spend so much time with the organization, it is a little more challenging. So I think of it as it's simply a city department, much like a Parks and Recreation or Public Works or any of the other departments. It has a staff, and the staff are members of the city's employment, or excuse me, they are city employees. And so they operate as any other city employee would operate. The great thing that we have at PRA is the added benefit of an advisory board. So we have a city department with volunteer advisors to help sort of direct the mission of the department and the organization. And that mission is really pretty simple. It is, we talk about being simple, but it isn't easy. There are a lot of things in our community. And that mission is to revitalize our historic district, downtown and LowerTown. So the things that we need to do to bring what we call feet on the street back into the district through the elements we already have, those core elements such as the cultural pieces, the Market House Theater, Yiser Arts Center, Maiden Alley Cinema, and others. We have these attractions as well as restaurants. So we already have those core elements already in place. And our mission is to bring people down here, downtown, to LowerTown to enjoy those as part of the quality of life of living in Paducah. And we feel like another aspect of making sure those feet get on the street is living downtown. We spent a good part of last year, spring and summer, listening to the merchants, the residents, the directors of those cultural venues, and hearing what they had to say about how we can get people down there. And much of what we heard from them, we ultimately put in the work plan. And it is driven by having people live downtown. The upper stories, getting those restored, renovated, working with investors and property owners to get people down there living so that the first floors can then be brought into retail space so that we can attract quality retail establishments. And so we feel like that's our mission. Yeah. Bring feet on the street to the district, and then we feel that that will ultimately result in a revitalized district.
Lisa, Maurie's right. We have a lot of draws downtown. Other than what she named, we have the library that's downtown. We have the McCracken County Courthouse, City Hall, post office. So there's lots of things that bring people downtown.
Right.
And we just need to bring them to Broadway and other areas to shop and to enjoy our downtown. So what do you see as some of the challenges that PRA has to accomplish that goal?
You know, one of the biggest challenges we have is something that's kind of out of our control, which is the economic situation that, you know, the country is in. Right. We have, you know, really large buildings on Broadway that have a really enormous square footage. And, you know, I think if we could create sort of white box, small retail spaces, 1,000 feet to 1,500 square feet, where you could have a merchant, you know, or a restaurant or some carry out move right in and sort of set up shop, that would be the easiest way for us to start really putting some more energy into Broadway. But the challenge is that we have 40,000 square foot buildings that are, you know, suffering from a lot of years of neglect. So I think that, you know, one of the things that we need to do is really start identifying some of these property owners and seeing if we can work with them or partner with them or set up other outside investors with these owners using, you know, tax credits that are available to them, so that it's a way of us to start sort of getting a jump start on those smaller spaces that I think it would be a lot easier for us to fill than a 40,000 square foot storefront. Right.
Well, and you're exactly right, Lisa. The economy has such a major role in that. We were sort of off to a good start back in 08, and then the economy went south, and a lot of the new businesses that had opened closed, and a lot of the long-time businesses that had been down there closed. So the economy has a lot to do with it, and so for our viewers, if you are interested, anybody out there in coming down and being part of downtown and maybe buying a building and getting involved, we would love to have you.
I mean, I think it's important to note that you know, the retail sector, their numbers are really starting to increase. There are a lot of companies that have been sitting on a lot of cash, you know, for the last several years. I think we start to see signs. I mean, obviously we're in an election year, but I think that, you know, we're sort of working our way out of the situation we're in. And I'm hoping that a lot of the groundwork that we can do in the next year will really set us up for some really big successes.
I think you're right. We have businesses that are doing well now. Hooper's had a great Christmas season. Barbecue and more downtown had a good season. So we're doing well. We just need more businesses downtown. So, Maurie, what would be your vision for downtown and LowerTown, what I call the Arts District? I think I know, but if we get to where we want to be, what's your vision of what that's going to look like?
I think that we work really closely with a lot of the other groups that are focused on developing our community, such as the CVB, and work closely with bringing tourism in. They are already doing an outstanding job of bringing tourists in. And so it's three-pronged to me, to answer your question more specifically. The first being working with a CVB regarding tourism. The second, as Lisa just described, working with businesses to fill the retail spaces, and then this downtown living concept. So in terms of a vision long-term, it really results in a number of people who want to live and work and shop and dine in the historic district. It's an opportunity that we have that many other communities don't have. They've not had the commitment of their city governments and city employees and volunteers and the community at large, and we really have that in our favor. So I think we have opportunities that maybe we don't even fully realize yet, but we can certainly, with all of the right elements, because we do have those right elements, create this scenario with tourism, residents, and shoppers and diners down there.
Well, a couple big things. Number one, you've got the move of the School of Art, Paducah School of Art, to our art district in LowerTown, Madison Hall, and that beautiful campus that will eventually be in place. So people will come to the art district because of that. You have a wonderful convention center right downtown, and we're working hard to bring a hotelier downtown to connect to that, to where we can bring conventions in here. And where are those conventions going to go after they attend the convention, but to walk downtown and to shop and to eat and do things like that. And then we have the riverfront that we're hoping to start. So we have a lot of things that are going to help us in this endeavor. Lisa, we just recently had some Illinois students from the Illinois Institute of Art down here to look at the theater, the Columbia Theater, a beautiful downtown theater. What are your hopes for that theater, and how are we going to get there?
You know, the theater, when I first came to Paducah and I was driving down Broadway, I really almost ran into it. I mean, it is such a magnificent building. I mean, it's amazing that so much of the original fabric, the historic, you know, it's all still pretty much intact. So to me, you know, that is it's like a shopping mall. It's an anchor, and it's an anchor on the opposite end of the river in Market House Square. So if we can really find a way to raise the money and restore that, that will really be a big boost to creating a longer commercial district on Broadway. You know, with the help of Neil Vogel and his students, we hope to get some architectural drawings, some renderings, elevations, as well as potential cost estimates to restore the property. And, you know, I really hope that with the goal of the nonprofit board that we'll be able to raise the money that we can turn the lights on the Columbia Theater, because it's been dark for 25 years. And it's it's just amazing.
It is a magnificent building, and I was in Nashville this weekend reading the Nashville paper, and they were talking about how many things there are to do in downtown Knoxville. And one of the main assets down there is this revitalized movie theater. And I think about the Columbia, because even though the Columbia is not as large as this one in Knoxville, it is still a magnificent building.
It is.
And so you're right, that's an anchor. The Market House, the riverfront, the Four Rivers is an anchor on the other side, and then you start filling in everything in the middle.
You do, and then over in LowerTown on 7th and Madison, you have the Texaco. So you start to, if you look at the ramp plan, you start to really see how we're moving and starting to think of ways to move people once we get them on the street from one area of downtown to LowerTown to the waterfront. And with that, we'll become more successful.
Yeah. And that's a whole different presentation, is to talk about the ramp.
Right.
And exactly that. How do you get people from the interstate downtown to LowerTown to the riverfront to the convention center in a good way that's easy. So we'll need to get back together and talk about that at some point. Maurie, tell me a little bit about how important volunteers are for PRA, and in your all's what you're wanting to accomplish.
Sure. As Lisa's described, the scope of all the things that PRA is responsible for is very broad, and there are four people on the staff who have a lot on their plate, and as we said earlier, the focus and the mission is simple but not easy. So in my mind, volunteers are so critical because the staff needs extra hands and extra ears and eyes and feet, and the volunteers really from the community help to bring a perspective, hopefully, to the mission that someone who works for the organization may or may not have. Just the more diverse input and opinions and ideas we have, the more successful we'll be. So volunteers, in my mind, are really critical in any aspect of what we do in Paducah. We have a number of boards, as you've spoken about so many times, Mayor, where volunteers have been critical to the success, and this organization and department is really not any different. And so we're there to serve and do what's needed by the staff, and then to get out of their way so they can do what needs to be done. So.
Speaking of the staff, why don't you talk about who the staff, how it's made up? And,
I'll be happy to. We're really excited to have the four people on our staff now. They've been here since the 1st of December. Susan Gibson, though, has been with us all last year as we went through the transition of sort of rebuilding the organization based on the ordinance. And Susan is our office manager. We have Amy Sanders, who is our public relations and marketing specialist and manager, and then we have Melissa Mast, who is our promotions manager, and we also, of course, have Lisa Thompson as our executive director. So we're thrilled to have this team. Susan has lived in Paducah for perhaps her life, I'm not certain, but for many, many years. Melissa has been a long-term resident of Paducah. Amy has, I understand, grew up here and moved away for a time and then has moved back. And Lisa is brand new, so she brings all sorts of outside perspectives that we're really lucky to have. So we're very excited about this team.
First time that we've had a full staff in a long, long time to where we can hit the ground running and we know what we want to do. Right. Lisa, what are some of the events that are organized by PRA in either a big way or a small way?
Well, one of the first things that we're going to start working on is the farmers market. So the farmers market's going to start on April 15th this year, and we have actually found a software package that will be added to our website that will allow the farmers to create sort of their own personal web pages. And in that, they can choose what stall they want to be at. They can tell us what kind of produce they're going to bring to us. So let's say on a Saturday afternoon, you want to make Italian panzanella, and you need some really great fresh tomatoes. So you'll be able to go to our website and you'll be able to look up and say tomatoes. You go to the farmer's market page and it will tell you which vendors are down at the farmer's market that have tomatoes that day. So we're really pretty excited about that and what kind they have. Yeah. So we're really pretty excited about that. And then following the sort of startup of that, we've got the Live on Broadway. So we've been in lots of discussions about, we've talked about a lot of the successes that were last year and some of the lessons that have been learned. So we as a team have got some new ideas that we're going to sort of start to introduce to Live on Broadway this year. And we really hope to build on the successes that they've had in the past with that. And then you get into your fall events, and there's the Old Market Days, which the nonprofit board is really excited about having the opportunity to do that again this year. And with the emphasis of helping to restore the Columbia Theater, this will be a really great opportunity for us to raise some money for the Columbia Theater so that we can work on some of the feasibility studies and things like that that we'll really need to sort of jumpstart that fundraising activity.
Well, and then even though you are not directly involved in that, and we've got Barbecue on the River, everybody from city employees to the Barbecue on the River people to PRA are going to be involved in that and making that a success.
Exactly. There's the LowerTown Arts Festival,
LowerTown
which we're
Music
partnering
Festival,
with. The Neighborhoods Association, we're going to partner with them this year. We've got the Artisan Residency Program. The Iser Art Center they were gifted a grant from the National Endowment of Arts for that program, so we've been partnering with them about that and how we get some international attention and get some really great artists and residents here. And then there's the Maiden Alley Cinema has the film festival in the fall.
Film festival.
So we'll be working with Landy and her team on that. So
a lot going on.
A lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
Lisa, again, real quickly, what is your strategy that you're going to use to recruit businesses for downtown and artists for the art district? What sort of strategy are you thinking about?
To be honest with you, my first goal is to work on retaining the businesses we have.
Right.
How do we retain the artists that have already made a commitment to Paducah,
right,
and the restaurants and the businesses that are downtown?
Right.
And part of that is putting our best foot forward on these events. It's working with marketing, making sure that all of them have Facebook pages, that all of them have Twitter accounts. There's some new changes that are coming to our website that will actually integrate some of the events a little bit more seamlessly, as well as landing pages for each of these businesses. So I'm thinking I want to sort of open up what's already here before we really focus too much on recruiting new people. So I want to shore up what's here first. And then, we work on the Columbia, and all of those things will start to fall into place.
Well, you're right. We've got to keep the retail that's here strong, and so we obviously know what Columbia will do for downtown, and then hopefully people, once they get to know what all's going on downtown, there'll be people that will contact you all. But eventually we do need to bring businesses downtown to complement the businesses that are there, to make sure that we have a large enough shopping in order to get people to come from their home out in the county or somewhere to downtown. So I'm excited about that.
This is a real opportunity this year too, I'd add, to work with those property owners, as Lisa described, to begin the process of perhaps getting some of those buildings in a shape so that they can be in a condition to bring businesses in. So many of those, as she said, had fallen into disrepair. So while all these other things are going on, it's also an opportunity to begin those conversations, to bring an awareness to the property owners. So we want to make sure that property owners know all that's going on downtown
Right.
and all that PRA is
Right.
doing, so that they will see the value of that investment
Right.
and want to work with us then to get people down here. So.
Right.
Well, I guess I am more optimistic about downtown in the art district than I've ever been with everything that's going on. I think, Maurie, you described our staff as smart and talented and enthusiastic. Lisa, I know with the experiences that you've had from retail to all the different areas that you're going to bring a great quality down to PRA, and we're just we're tickled to have you here in
Thank
Paducah,
you.
and I know you're going to love it.
I do love it.
Met your husband, and your husband is a wonderful person. We look forward to time when he can get down here. He's working in Washington, and you all kind of meet periodically and say hello. So I know you're going to be successful.
Thank you.
Maurie, to you, thank you for your volunteering and your board. We're getting ready to get that board up to the maximum.
We are. That'll be
And,
9. We'll have 9
it'll
on
be
the board.
9 board members, and then we'll develop the volunteers.
Yes.
And the volunteers put on the Art and Music Festival currently and do a great job, and they will continue to do that under Michael Terra's
and Stephanie Gray.
and Stephanie Gray's leadership.
Right.
So a lot of great things going on, and for our audience, if this isn't quality of life to revitalize downtown, to bring the Columbia Theater back to life, to have a convention hotel down here, to bring all the different the downtown after dinner or live on Broadway, all the different events downtown, I don't know what is. So I hope everybody's enjoyed the show, and please join us again for Quality of Life Matters in Paducah. Thank you.